course, the crossroad of a former U.S. president and criminal charges. Thursday, March 30th, now a day of political and legal infamy. It's a sealed indictment, alleged hush money, details not yet public. The paperwork is not out. This particular charge, believed to be falsifying business records of payments he allegedly made to adult film star Stormy Daniels, $130,000 to keep her from revealing an affair she and Trump had before the 2016 election. The charges by a New York City grand jury, a case brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. In essence, he's the state's attorney there. This tonight, not a federal case. Of course, there are two federal investigations underway now, one focused on his handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago in Florida after leaving the White House, the other for his role in the January 6th Capitol riot. And then there is a Georgia state investigation of his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. All of those more serious than today's New York misdemeanor that could be elevated to a felony. And now tonight, the I-Team with former Chicago federal prosecutor and ABC7 legal analyst Gil Sofer, who joins live to discuss this history-making indictment. Gil, history, but in New York City it's a misdemeanor, could be upgraded to a felony. Is that the game plan?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The misdemeanor is making a false entry in a business record. It can be elevated to a felony if that false entry is in connection with another more serious crime. In this case, that would be a campaign finance violation. It would be an aggressive charge, but that may be what we're seeing.
And the other investigations that I referred to could be far more serious. Is this just considered the first domino?
Yeah, it's worth remembering exactly what you just said. There are a number of pending investigations, almost all of them more serious than this. So this could just be the first domino and the least significant of all of them in many ways.
And why would this be sealed but leaked out? Why not just make this public right now?
Well, it is the practice of this court, of that office, to keep under seal an indictment until an initial appearance. But no one can compel that it remain secret. And Trump's lawyers received word, as is the custom, that an indictment was coming. So once it's out, and they can disclose that. But the actual papers will be under seal until the initial appearance before court.
The DA in New York and Trump's attorneys tonight are saying they've agreed to have him surrender early next week, maybe Tuesday. What will that look like?
It's an amazing thing to contemplate. We've never seen anything like this before with the former president, of course. In the normal course of things, a defendant has to appear, has to get a mugshot taken, has to give fingerprints, often is led in handcuffs from one part of the building to another, to court. Certainly what will happen here is some of that. Trump will have to present his fingerprints. He'll get a mugshot. Whether he's in handcuffs is a different story. Whether there's any kind of perp walk is much less likely. But he'll be treated the way everybody else is, except he'll be surrounded by a retinue of Secret Service agents.
And with all this, the NYPD on special schedule starting tomorrow. Standard operating procedure, or will this be a security nightmare?
I have to believe it'll be a security nightmare. For what would otherwise be a case that would get little to no notice, this will be one of the most unusual logistical operations we'll see. Secret Service will be swarming the place, obviously, as will the press and just about everybody else. So there's a lot of hurdles they're going to have to jump through to make sure this is pulled off safely and securely.
You and I talk about this topic all the time. Is this a case that's likely to result in a plea bargain?
I don't see any case brought against this president resulting in a plea bargain. He's not that kind of defendant. He fights everything. There's no reason to think he wouldn't fight this. It's also the case that this does not, especially if it's a misdemeanor, it doesn't likely carry a jail term. Even if it's a felony, ultimately, it may not carry a jail term. It's not that serious a felony in the grand scheme of charges. So I would expect to see him fight it to the bitter end.
Our legal analyst, Gil Sofer, thanks so much. What a day, and next week, what a week. Cheryl?
All right, Chuck, thank you so much. Very interesting and compelling interview. Lots of great information there, Chuck. Thank you so much. I know you will stay on top of things. And of course, we will continue to follow the story for you tonight on air and online.
You know, it's a big deal when Chuck and Gil are here talking about
Right.
what could happen, and we don't know because, as Gil said, this is just...
It's historic. It has never happened in American history, so there's no precedent set for it.
How does the Secret Service go into a facility if he's fingerprinted and photographed? I mean, there's just so much we don't know because it's never happened. It's pretty incredible.
And they have to do huge preparations because
Safety, security.
and people we're talking about, it is already some preparation underway, as if when he was president of the United States, he lived at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The barricades are already up in several areas around New York City.
Yeah, Secret Service for life for any former president, so we have to protect a former president extensively, no matter what the allegations would be, and this is no different. It's just going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Protection for a lot of things, so.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.